Hello and welcome to FEMTECH Live Lounge, a monthly discussion that celebrates the intersection of technology and the AI industry. This series is presented by Virtual Patent Gateway. Our guest interviewer today is Meredith Schoenfeld. Ms. Schoenfeld is an Associate Solicitor at the USPTO and a founding member of the USPTO's Artificial Intelligence and Emerging Technology Working Group. She also acts as a government liaison to the National AI Advisory Committee. Meredith is joined by Nicole Altman, Senior Counsel at Instacart. And with that, I'll pass things over to Meredith.
Hi, good day to everyone. So I know people are listening and tuning in from different locations. I know Ashley is in Norway, Nicole is in Hawaii, I'm in Alexandria. So we're really all over the place in all different times. But welcome to everybody. Just wanted to add a slight update. So I think when I submitted I just started a new position. So I'm actually at the National Science Foundation now. But I think probably when I submitted my information, I was still at the USPTO. But I'm now currently Assistant General Counsel at National Science Foundation. So Nicole, it's really great to talk to you. We got brought together through this FEMTECH Lounge and through Ashley. So it's been really nice to meet you and hear your perspectives on everything. So can you tell us a little bit about how you got started in AI and what attracted you to that particular field?
Sure, absolutely. And very excited to be here and sharing this space with you, Meredith. That has been a pleasure getting to know you and some of the great work that you've been doing with the National Science Foundation. So currently, I am with Instacart, and a quick disclaimer that all views expressed here are my own and not necessarily the views of Instacart or any other groups that I'm affiliated with.
That's the thing for me as well. So thank you. My views are my own.
Sorry. I'm an innovative tech attorney with experience in artificial intelligence, intellectual property, privacy, litigation. In my time at Instacart, I've dived in and really worked hands-on with engineers and developing new products, leading to being a named inventor on 2 filed patent applications, including one that involves generative AI. I also co-lead the Women at Instacart Employee Resource Group, which is our largest ERG. And I'm a longtime board member and past president of the Hawaii Women Lawyers. So mahalo to Ashley for launching this FEMTECH initiative. It really combines a lot of things that I'm involved in and I love. Now, Meredith, you asked about how I got involved in AI and what sparked my interest in the field. And prior to law school, I was a cognitive science major focused on understanding how the brain works and processes behind decision making. And so got to dive into some cognitive neuroscience and psychology and decision-making processes, and that was all incredibly fascinating to me. I pivoted and largely left it behind when I transitioned to law school, but as a lawyer, my work revolves around innovative technology issues, including IP and privacy issues. So when generative AI got mainstream attention a year and a half ago, towards the end of 2022, with the launch of ChatGPT, it immediately piqued my interest, and I was drawn to it not only for its practical applications in all of our lives, but also for the myriad of legal issues that it presents. So it really felt like a natural convergence of my past studies and my current career, and I've just been fascinated by it.
Wow, that's really interesting. I didn't know your cognitive behavior science background. So you must have very unique perspectives on kind of if AI is sort of working like a human or not.
Not yet. Not
yet. Yeah, that's very cool. Can you tell us about some of the AI projects that you work on, both at Instacart, and I know in your, I guess, personal, professional time, you're also, do a lot of work in AI. So if you could just tell us about some of those projects, I'm sure the audience would love to hear.
Awesome. Yeah, in my role at Instacart, I contribute to our governance efforts from a legal perspective. I've also recently obtained my AIGP certification, which is an artificial intelligence governance professional. So further deepening my expertise in that area. In addition, I also serve on the AI Catalyst Steering Committee, which works to democratize knowledge and use of AI tools across the company. And one of the things I've been doing is leading efforts to bring more AI usage within the legal group, and showing some of my colleagues like ways that they can use it to boost their own productivity and make their work more efficient and effective. I'm also actively involved in a wonderful group called Women Defining AI. And that's a group that aims to close the technology gap and change who defines and leads the conversations around innovative technology, starting with generative AI. It's a fabulous group. I encourage anybody who's interested to check it out and join. It's an incredibly supportive community full of hands-on learning and experimentation and supporting one another on this new and exciting journey.
And if people were interested in it, what's the best way for them to look up information about Women Defining AI?
Oh, let's see. I can probably find and drop a link to the website in the chat at some point.
Awesome.
You can also find it on LinkedIn. You can also ping me after. I'm happy to talk more about it.
So why do you think it is important to get more women involved in the AI space? Like, what perspective do you think that brings?
Gosh, there's just so many reasons. So like, as with anything, like I firmly believe that diversity leads to better outcomes. It leads to broader perspectives and ideas. And women are 50% of the population. And without their full participation, we're missing out on ideas and solutions that this segment can bring to the table. AI is also really transforming society. And as something that has such a powerful impact on the course of our society, we need it to really reflect the needs of all people. And if women are underrepresented in artificial intelligence, there's a real risk that AI solutions will be biased and lead to unfair outcomes that disproportionately affect women or other groups that aren't fully participating. And the third is really practical too, that women will be left behind if not. I mean, I really believe that AI and generative AI will become increasingly central to how we live and work. A recent study just out by Microsoft and LinkedIn about AI at work showed that 66% of leaders say they would not hire someone with AI skills, and 71% say that they'd rather hire a less experienced candidate who had AI skills versus a more experienced candidate who did not. So women sort of opt out or aren't participatory in it, there's a risk that it just furthers gender imbalances on a much broader scale because they'll be left behind.
Thanks. And you talked about there's a gender imbalance, and I, being in the AI world, I've definitely seen that as well, and just even informally, talking to friends and family, it seems that there is, I don't know, maybe a little bit more reluctance or fear of engaging with AI by women. And I was wondering, what do you think the reasons are for this imbalance?
I think there's really a myriad of reasons. I mean, I've seen these statistics too. It's sort of shocking to me. OpenAI recently released some statistics showing that nearly 70% of their users are male, only 30% or so being female. There was a study last fall that showed only 35% of women were using generative AI tools at work compared to nearly 50% of men. I know the percentages on both fronts have increased in the time since that study last fall, but just recently I conducted an informal poll among my friends last week. And these are generally, well-educated professional women in their early 40s. And I was shocked that the majority have not used AI. So I pulled 12 friends, 8 out of 12 of them, 66% don't use it at all. Only one of the 12 is sort of like me and is has incorporated it into her life in a really robust way. And the other three have tried but weren't impressed with it. Of the ones who have tried but weren't impressed with it, they were just sort of dissatisfied with the results. One said, well, like I tried to write a condolence card for somebody and the results were too flowery. I said, well, did you ask it to make it less flowery? And she said, oh, you can do that? And a similar sentiment from some of the others, or that they just thought like the learning curve, when they didn't feel like they were very skilled at it. The 8 out of the 12 who haven't used it, their reasons vary. 2 said, I don't use it because I don't need it for work. And I said, well, did you know that there's plenty of non-work applications too? They said, oh, like what? And I listed off a few and they said, oh my gosh, like I had no idea. One said, I don't see a need for it. My life is fine as it is. And then there was the one who had kind of the concerns that the bots will take over and kind of worry that the risks outweigh the benefits. So I think the reasons really vary. And from things that I've read kind of beyond my friend group, I think that sort of tracks the general sentiment too. Different people have different reasons for not using it, by being curious but not really knowing where to start, to having tried it but I don't really see how this is really that beneficial to my life, because perhaps they don't know how to use it for good impact, to others who are really sort of just apprehensive of it in general, but not like curious and don't know where to start, but just kind of very wary of it.
So given, kind of these myriad of reasons, like what do you think there are ways of like encouraging, women to be involved with AI, or even just to use it more on a regular basis?
Yeah, I think there's it's a big problem. This gender in STEM, in tech, in generative AI. It's not new. So it's a big systemic problem that is going to require a multifaceted approach. But 2 of the things are really encouraging women to be involved in creating AI, right? Getting women more involved in the field to be able to create the systems that are more appealing, accessible to women, don't have these biased effects that can and do exist. So that's one. And then 2, just thinking about my friend group, we talked about it and they're like, Nicole, like, can you lead a session with us? Like we'd love, can we do a 1-hour Zoom together where you show us how you use it? And so I think little things like that, and just showing people how to use and engage with AI to demystify it and show its real practical application. I use it every day, and most of the uses aren't very sophisticated, but just by experimenting and playing with it, I found ways to make it have a really positive impact in my life. I think it is about showing people the practical magic of AI. While there are applications that can be very complex, there are also very easily accessible entry points that people can start with. So to that, like with that in mind, I've been conducting a series of workshops that guide people through the process of using AI. And I may think that some of my uses are very simple and gosh, this isn't really that worthwhile or innovative to show, but it has been really helpful to people, and just showing them in real time what I use it for, what it can do, and then it kind of breaks down the barriers to entry and encourages them to think about ways that they can use it in their life. So I've done one for the legal team, I have 2 workshops upcoming in the next few weeks at the Hawaii Center for AI, a new nonprofit here. One is going to focus on like parenting hacks using AI, another on women's empowerment with AI. I mentioned earlier, I'm also the co-lead of the Women at ERG group at Instacart. I want to do a session for them too. And so it's just, for me, it's just about like showing people like the baby steps they can take to start incorporating it into their lives, which then I hope will have a sort of snowball effect as people kind of get comfortable and familiar and start experimenting.
Yeah, that's really awesome. I like how you're, kind of covering different facets like parenting, personal, professional, sort of covering the gamut. That's very cool and impressive. So as long as we're kind of on these uses of it, can you share a few with this audience, kind of ways you use it or some ways that are easy to start, like with some baby steps that people could take?
Sure. Well, so many ways. Like I said, I use it pretty much every day in both my work and professional realms. And I see AI as a tool that has a number of different hats. So one way is like as a thesaurus for whole thoughts. That's a metaphor that one of my friends shared that I just love. Another is as a personalized search. You type into Google, you get a bunch of links that you need to wade through to find the answer you want, but you use generative AI to get it, and you get results that are tailored to what you're asking. Of course, you need to, I say trust, but verify, right? You need to have eyes wide open that it's not perfect, just like nobody is perfect, but it's a good starting point. I use it as a teacher and instructor. I think it's a great tool to democratize access to information and know-how in a personalized way. And it just can unlock a lot of knowledge much quicker than historically has been possible. And then the primary way that I use it is as an editor. I write a lot of things, and I'll either write something and ask ChatGPT or another tool, like, how do you comment on this? How do you rate it? How will you improve it? And I never take what it gives me as 100% and go, but it gets me 70 to 90% of the way there in seconds. And then I will iterate with it back and forth to get to that 100%. But overall, I'm more satisfied with the result, and I've achieved it a lot quicker than I would otherwise. So at work, I use it, for writing and editing and brainstorming, for the sometimes for analyzing provisions of contracts. Again, I'm never taking it as as gospel what it gives me, but it can help to jumpstart my thinking. I use it a lot for the Women at ERG for event planning. I recently hosted a career coach who did a session for the community, and I used it to help brainstorm and outline how that interview would go. I gave it this person's bio, I read their book, and on my Kindle, I highlighted the excerpts that spoke out to me. I downloaded and exported that. I loaded it up into our equivalent of ChatGPT, and I had conducted a poll of the community to ask which topics they were most interested in. So I fed all of that into there, and I said, okay, we have an hour. Like, what should we talk about? And it gave me something. And again, I didn't just take that, but I used it and iterated back and forth. In my personal life as well, a lot of fun things for kids. I have 3 of them. They consume a lot of my time and brain space, and I love getting them involved in it too. One of the things that they love is creating custom coloring pages. Give me a surfing school bus, right? Give me a cat, with a cat riding a dolphin, things like that. Just like, I love it for the way it encourages their creativity, and then they see the magic playing out. So really, custom bedtime stories. You can talk into it and say, hey, give me a story about 2 siblings named whatever ages this, and they go on an adventure chasing surfing school buses, right? and out it spits, and it can speak it back to you. So sometimes when I am tired to keep my eyes open and read them a story, we'll do that, and they just love it. So there's so many different things. One final last thing that I love doing is I have a lot of school calendars and sports calendars that come to me in a very in a format that's not very friendly to add to my Google Calendar.
Yeah.
I used to spend a lot of time kind of manually entering each baseball game and baseball practice and all of that. And now I use ChatGPT. I feed it up in there. I tell it to take the school schedule, for example. Okay, here's a PDF of our school calendar. Remove all of the events that are for the high school. Give me a downloadable file that I can import into my Google Calendar, and like do. Boom, I do it, and I'm done in a few minutes.
Yeah, no, that's very good. And I know, when we were scheduling our meeting prior, you had very good technology to like share your availability, and it was very easy to schedule something too. So I think with calendaring and coordinating schedules, like there's a lot of ways that things can be streamlined. And I know, one of the things that I do a lot is because I have a lot of meetings for work. So if you get the transcript of the meeting and you put it in, you can kind of ask for the highlights of the meeting. And then, it will give you, and like you said, you have to kind of look at it, the information yourself, and make sure that it squares up. But it's just a nice way of synthesizing it and getting it started, and, keeping track of the meetings and the notes. And it just removes, it just makes it easier for you. So I like to use it, for work meetings a lot, just helping me, keep everything in my brain and on track. And
it can also like generate like action items from the meeting,
yep.
right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, here's the meeting. Like, what are next steps? And yeah, what you said reminded me of another analogy that I really like in the tools to. I think this is helpful for people who are distrustful of it because they know it can give false results, or is to think of it like an intern, right? It's good, it's helpful, but it's not perfect. And so I think of it like an intern, both in terms of how you instruct it, right? The more context you give it, the more directions you give it, the better quality results you'll get. But it still probably will not be 100% to your liking, like initially when it comes back. And with an intern, you don't just say, oh, well, this first draft is garbage, I'm never going to use you again. Maybe by the end of the summer, you're to that point if the iterative process hasn't worked. But I've generally found that with ChatGPT, and frankly, all interns that I've worked with, the iterative process does work. So if the first result isn't to your liking, work with it to get to something that is to your liking, and like be specific in what you want improved. And I think you'll be surprised with the results.
Yeah, no, I think that is a very good point. Follow up and sort of feedback, like the AI, the models work similarly, like with feedback. And, if you kind of give prompts that kind of give feedback, that is, integrated into the data. So I think that is a very good point about the iterative nature of learning, how to use things and how to get the results you want.
I was just Googling because I remember that I said I was going to drop in the Women Defining AI link in the chat, but I see that Ashley did it. So thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much. I also couldn't figure out how to actually use the chat. So thanks.
Yeah, Ashley is always on top of everything. So very impressive. I see that we are running out of time, and I know you have a hard stop. So, do you have kind of any final thoughts, like advice for women who want to get involved in AI, or, things about like AI in the future that we should, kind of be aware of or think about?
So many thoughts, but I'll condense it into 1 minute. I mean, AI in the future, I think it is going to be increasingly a part of our everyday lives in ways that we don't even overtly think about. I think it's just going to become a default and really like baked into and embedded in so many things we do. With that, there's great possibilities, but also great risks. And so I think, I've been talking a lot about the benefits and the kind of the operational and practical magic of it. But I'm also a lawyer concerned with governance of AI. And so I think being very mindful of the responsible development of AI is very important. And if we get that right, I think the possibilities can be really amazing. For women who are interested in it, just jump in, just start exploring. Reach out to me. I'm happy to go over it with you. Join a group like Women Defining AI, or partner up with a friend to explore it. I mean, it's really simple stuff. For example, this week is Teachers Appreciation Week, and so we're making a card for my kids to their teachers. And I have a 3.5-year-old, and he can't really write a card, so I go to ChatGPT and ask it to write me like a little limerick for the teachers. And again, the first one wasn't perfect, but I was able to customize it with his name, the school name, and all of that. And within 3 minutes or so, I got a really fun, cute little poem. So it can be really simple types of tasks that just bring that spark of magic in to you. And maybe I could have eventually come up with not exactly this, but something like it. But it would have taken me so much longer with so many, the hairs pulled out along the way, because I'm not a creative poet, but I was able to play one with the aid of ChatGPT. So yeah, just dive in. It's really, really incredible.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's great advice. And I know there's also just a lot of information out there. Like I know even today in DC at the convention center, there's a big AI expo, which is actually free to attend. So there is definitely a lot of information and opportunities out there for people. So well, it's been great talking with you. Thank you, Nicole, for agreeing to be interviewed. I'm sure everyone will enjoy listening to all the different perspectives that you had. And I know, like I said, you have a hard stop. So
thank you so much, Meredith. It was great having this conversation with you. And thank you to Virtual Patent Gateway and Ashley for spearheading this. And the FEMTECH Live Lounges are a great series. So thank you all.